Wowee, we got a great game. Really good game. And not to toot my own horn too much, but I got it right. Let's get straight into it. First game, let's go.
Give me some champagne. I need a victory sip.
So, All Blacks Springboks out All Blacks. All Blacks managed to do it. 35-20. I gotta say, what I said was going to happen happened. Richie Mo'unga started at 10. Better distribution. Better positioning on the field because of it. Springboks looked rusty. Made some really key errors. Lots of drops. Lots of knock forwards. Some people made no pressure mistakes as well in terms of like catching kicks. Just things that are really uncharacteristic. But it wasn't the story of the whole game. And there was a couple of things that I didn't predict that did make a difference as well. I think South Africa are going to learn from this, and it will help them in the World Cup to actually have an advantage over the All Blacks when and if they play each other in the World Cup. So what do I mean by that? So the Springboks came in with a lot of changes in their pack in particular, and obviously in the backs, but I'm talking about the forwards right now. They came in with a lot of changes for players that were probably typically seen as bigger performers, like more superstar appeal. Etzebeth, Franco Mostart, Jasper Wiese, and at the breakdown for the first half, they got dominated. The All Blacks were allowed to get clean ball out, straight out the back of the ruck. They managed to have quick ball. Their offload game was going insane, and that's what managed to give them such a big lead in the first half. Rassie Erasmus says pretty soon after the second half starts, Rassie Erasmus decides, and the Springbok coaching staff decide, right, let's get on some of these performers that were good last week and are bigger bodies as well. This is the 7 who came on for Franco Mostart. I'm not 100% sure his name, but he's a much bigger dude than Franco Mostart. Vermeulen, who's he's a similar size to Jasper Wiese, but they're very different players. Jasper Wiese is kind of very good in attacking and getting a front foot and going forward. Vermeulen is more just a bit of an enforcer at number 8. Obviously, Etzebeth is already that kind of enforcer personality that you have, and he's a massive guy, so he didn't get changed. But you could see when they brought on these substitutes that South Africa very much were able to compete at a much higher level in this game, and they almost managed to swing it back round in their own favour. And yeah, I think they're going to learn from this, that if they play the All Blacks in the World Cup, they want to start with probably not so much their superstars, but with their biggest pack, and they want to try and bully them at the breakdown. This is a game that they will not be happy that they lost, because they're never happy when they lose. But in the long run, they're going to look back, and if they have to play them in the World Cup, they're going to look back and they're going to be thinking, we know what the formula is to win. We saw it from the beginning of the second half, and that is put the big boys on, muddle everything up at the breakdown, slow the ball down, play for territory, bully, 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 bully. And it almost worked. However, the All Blacks had Richie Mo'unga at 10.
It's a chicken train going to Flavor Town. Woo, woo!
Which I was so happy to see him starting. And after this initial kind of bullying phase that the Springboks had in the second half, they basically managed to kind of counteract that when everything was kind of, the momentum was swinging around and coming back to the Springboks and they were starting to score some tries. Richie Mo'unga's boots and his decision to kick and where to kick, and in the intelligent kicking, just pinned the Springboks back in their own half, meaning they couldn't play rugby and force mistakes, and they saw the game out because of that. I'm just going to say it. I think Richie Mo'unga is probably the best world number 10 there is, purely on a talent basis of what I've watched of domestic rugby. He's really good, and I haven't watched too much rugby for like the last. I've watched for the last year, but I haven't watched too much All Black rugby in the last 2 or 3 years. And from what I understand, Mo'unga hasn't always been the performer when they put him in the 10 shirt. But it was today, and I think that's a real evidence of stick with Mo'unga at 10, have Beauden Barrett at 15. He's perfect in that position for the All Blacks. Great at not dictating the run of play, but better at deciding when to attack in the line, better at being better under the high ball. Great position kicker as well, can put you all over the field where you need to be. And Jordie Barrett in the centres as well is also great. You know, he's kind of Beauden, but with a bit more of an attacking prowess. And that was, that's a great formula for them to win games, and they're going to look really strong. But I mean, heaven forbid if they have any injuries, because this team is just so fun to watch. I mean, all over the pitch, just superstars. And I would be remiss, and I do feel a bit bad that it's taken me this long to mention this player, but Will Jordan as well was just sensational. Coming back from injury, he picked some superb lines, made some great line breaks. And the try they had in the first half where he was on the outside, he got isolated a little bit, and he knew he didn't get held. And instead of getting isolated and getting a turnover, he had the intelligence to get up and run back on the play and managed to make the break, and which ended up in the try. So Will Jordan, fantastic performance. Talking about the Springboks backs, there's a bit of a difference here. I thought it was weird that Libbok wasn't, or Libbok, or whatever you pronounce his name, apologies. It was weird that he did not start this game, considering how well he played in the last game. I kind of thought in my head that maybe the reason they did it is because Libbok made South Africa play in a way that is not typical of South Africa. We're talking about possession rugby, pinning the opposition in the opposition half, trust the forwards, bully, good scrum, good line out, etc. And that was probably the decision-making of why they didn't pick Libbok at fly half, because they didn't want to try a formula that wasn't tried and tested in the Springbok way, even though it was quite, not shocking or alarming, but surprising in how South Africa were playing last week in terms of their possession rugby. What I would say is maybe they should have taken the risk and they should have started Libbok. All of the Springboks' good attacking play, especially in the second half, was when Willie le Roux came in and bossed at 10 and pushed the 10 out to put him in the centre, because he realised that you needed to play some attacking rugby. And when a Libbok eventually does come on, the game's already lost, but he makes some great runs and makes some great attacking play. If I'm the Springboks next week, I'd like to see the forwards that didn't start this weekend, a lot of them to start. I would be tempted to put in Marks, who's just a beast in that second row, and put him with Etzebeth. Put in the 7 that came on for Franco Mostart. And yeah, no, okay, fine. All the backs that came on, I would put them on. I put Vermeulen on instead of Jasper Wiese. Just have a bully pack, and then put Libbok in at 10, and let Libbok cook. So yeah, I think they just made the wrong decision was in their selection. And I think also the prediction I had in terms of one team being closer to the end of their domestic league finishing made a real difference as well. And also, most of these All Black players, barring Mwanga, played with each other last week's play in Argentina, where South Africa didn't. So I think that had a big effect, where the hot hand having some momentum makes a big difference in this game. But if I'm South Africa, I'm honestly feeling like the All Blacks have revealed to me what I have to do to win. The formula's there. We got to go out and we got to bully. And we got to play possession rugby when the All Blacks start flicking it around and they're doing insane stuff all over the place. The formula is there to win. So if you're thinking more long-term, you're thinking World Cup, and you're South Africa, you got to be pretty happy, because you found the formula, I think, in the game. The benefit of me doing this video a little bit later, which I was kind of forced to, I was doing something yesterday, is like we can watch some highlights, and we can have a look through the game and see what we can see. So let me minimize this down. Put me up in the top right, and we'll really minimize me down. So see if there's anything of worth here.
Beauden, Barrett goes wide.
This is what I was talking about, the Will Jordan. Not held there, very intelligent, would have been isolated, cuts inside. Very, very intelligent play. That's the difference between having a penalty against you for holding on the floor and being able to turn that round. And I think that's also equally on Willie le Roux's shoulders as well, because he doesn't hold him. So watch it here, right? So Willie le Roux comes in, he needs to hold onto his legs there, and he doesn't. And that automatically allows Will Jordan to get up and score the try. So great decision making from Will Jordan. Willie le Roux, that's not so great. You need to hold him in the tackle. You should know that. This is where Kane's injured. That sucks. I hope he's not injured for the long future. Will Jordan again. What a line! Causes the line to break completely, and that's 6 for the All Blacks as well. Had an insane game. His turnover game was insane. His counter rucking was insane. He made a nuisance of himself at the breakdown. He was so good. Yeah, because he had a monster first half. He was dominant. Couldn't be stopped in any of the tight or the loose. He was just so good. Now I thought that was a try to South Africa, if I was honest. I thought he grounded it. That was my personal opinion. I thought he actually grounded the ball when it went down on the replay. Yeah. Quick look there. I think he's grounded it. He's got a hand on the ball. I think South Africa were a little bit hard done by not having that. So, look, it literally is there. It's come off his knee going backwards anyway. He's not knocked it on. I think he's... Yeah, I feel bad. I think that was a try. I think they were hard done by then. I think they got legitimate reasoning for that. So, let's move on. So this is when we have the big boys coming on. You can see Mark's in the middle. They've made the selection changes to put the bigger boys on, and it's just bully line out, you know? It's bully ball, and I think they can realise that they can do that if they play the All Blacks again. Just start with your big boys from the beginning, and don't go for more of your kind of like attacking players in the pack, and have more of attacking players in the backs instead. See what I'm talking about? Right, let's just go back here, right? This was typical for this break and play here. Look who's playing fly half. This is not the fly half. Look at the back of the shirt. 15. I'm pointing at the screen like an idiot. But look, mouse here. 15. Willie LaRue playing fly half. Where's the fly half? Libbok. If this was Libbok, I would put a lot of money on the fact that he would be leading the charge and he'd be 10. Dictating the play. It's just the fact that Willie LaRue is just so good and intelligent that he knows that he needs to step in and play fly half. And this wasn't the first time in this attacking play from my memory that he was the one dictating the attacking play. So next week, let's go with Libbok at fly half. Let's not, piss around. I think that's okay to say for 18 plus language. Let's not piss around. Let's get Libbok on at fly half. He had a great game. And let's not overthink it. If South Africa's style of play has to be, when they don't have Handré Pollard, has to be more attacking, let's roll with it. Come on, man. I mean, he's going to be back for the World Cup, right? Then you can have your two different styles of play. Handré Pollard dominates games in a different way, but yeah, let's have a look next time. And this was a beautiful try. That leap there was just sensational. So this is really, so I'm just going to pause it here. So this is a really key moment where the momentum is kind of with South Africa. They feel like they've kind of unlocked how they need to get back in this game. They were constantly competing at the breakdown, South Africa. They kept messing up at all the quick ball. They kept having good turnovers, and that's what led to the try that we just saw beforehand, because that was from a turnover, and then they kicked to the corner and they scored the try. So this is a really key moment in the game where New Zealand have to do something to just stick this in the mud. They need to swing the momentum back around. So let's see what happens here. With phase 11, so this is a good attacking play that we've had here.
All Blacks have a penalty advantage as Ardie Savea makes a bit of ground. Now Christie, change of direction.
Look at that. Look at that. Let's just go back and have a look at how intelligent this is. Okay. Christie has come up. He's a typical scrum half. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's going mental and he's passing left to right. He's not really paying attention, because you can see that on the left-hand side, we've got absolutely no attackers whatsoever. And Barrett, I think it's Barrett, has already recognised that all of the backs are on the right-hand side here. You got Richie here, you got the inside centre, you got Will Jordan on the right-hand side. And he automatically recognised that before the ball's even passed to him, with Christie coming on the outside. Now, I could be being harsh. This could be a called move, in which case is chef's kiss. It's beautiful. But off of probably a pretty frantic scrum half play, he's passed it back inside, and Beauden Barrett has recognised the space on the outside, seen Will Jordan, and that just puts the game at the end of it. What we haven't seen in this highlight before this is Richie Mwonga's kicking to get them in a position where they're down in this area of the field. So all of it is it's a really intelligent use of using the foot, of kicking the ball to put yourself in the position in the field that you want to be. And that's the difference between like playing ping pong tennis across a football pitch. I guess it's a football pitch. Playing ping pong and just useless kicks to really smart kicks and using kicks in an intelligent way to break up a defense that's coming after you. So while we're on the topic of the scrum, though, what I will say is that the scrums were they were so intense to watch in the first half. The two packs, I think there was like a 1 kilo difference in weight, and they were so even. They just collided, and the scrum halves for both teams were just waiting to see if anything was going to happen, and it was just seeing this tension like this. It was great to watch. It was really good scrummaging in action. What I will say is in the second half, another thing that South Africa will take from this is that when they brought on the big boys, they were more dominant in the scrum. I would say it's maybe something to do with the back positions. Look at this here. This loose head here. This hooker and this loose head here, you can see there's like a dip up there, and that might be because the hooker's trying to get his foot round on the inside of the scrum to maybe to hook it back. But he should have better hip mobility than that to get his leg round, and that may be causing a weakness on this tie heads. But in general, other than this little bump that you can see, straight backs across the board. And look at that South African scrum as well. All 8 men pushing in exactly the right direction, like straight backs. No one's bent backs. That is formidable. Really, really good. And it's an example of 2 teams that scrummage really, really well.
Back comes Savea. Away it goes from
Richie, what a game! What a game by Richie. That should secure him the All Black 10 shirt for next week at least. He was insane. Okay, I don't know if we've got too much else to really see here. Yeah, I don't know if there's too much to watch here. So yeah, great game. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so with this game, being honest, I didn't get a chance to watch it live. I was on a train, so I managed to watch little bits and pieces of it. And the general kind of vibe that I got from the game, that it was 2 teams that were a little bit rough and ready, and both of them really wanted to win, and they kept having a bit of a back and forth between themselves, and both of them were desperate for a win as well. I'll be honest with you, from the little I saw on the train, these are 2 teams that, you know, they're just desperate to feel competitive in the World Cup. And, you know, we'll see how they get on, but to struggle against each other like they did, I think there was a lot of mistakes in it that... Yeah, I don't want to trust too quickly before I see anything, but how I'm going to do this is we're going to watch the highlights in real time. I'm going to make some comments on it, and we may have some findings at the end. I think it should be all right. Right, let's go for it.
Big right, popping it up here for Cooper. Cooper floats it long.
Oh, that's a beautiful flat pass and a pass on the inside. That's a really good piece of attacking rugby there. That's causing let's have a look at the line here. So I think instantly that you can see, if we look at the defensive line of Argentina here, you've got too many men on the blind side that aren't paying attention. On top of it, they've not really got guards either side of the ruck either. We look on the outside here. We've got 3 defenders here. I can't read the numbers on the back of their sheet. So it's the back of their shirt, not sheet. I would guess, with the amount of wrappings on this guy's arm, he's probably a forward as well. So someone's got to recognize here that we've got a fullback here that's going to come in, but we've got another forward here who's trundling back and he's not really paying attention. We've got 2 guys in a back formation here, so they're not really used to defending on the inside. And we've got someone I would guess is a second row or a 6 on out here. So we've got to use the overlap here. Wade Cooper is already kind of looking on the right hand side, looking on the left hand side, and he's recognizing that. He's saying, right, let's go to the open side. Get it out. Wade Cooper recognizes it. Guy comes in here. Forward has just kind of twizzled here to manage to give them a bit of a space. They realize they've got an overlap. He has a beautiful wide pass on the outside, which is flat, and then they just get it back on the inside because they have that overlap. And then the fullback tackles the 13. Now, as I understand, that 13 got injured off that tackle, and I think Gordon came on for him, and I think that's quite a big loss. And this is something that I've got to talk about as well in terms of your substitutions. There's this new trend in Australia and South Africa that I've seen of having 6 forwards and 2 backs. Now, I think the reason that you do that is because forwards run around more than backs in terms of attrition. So you'd rather bring on someone you can make more substitutions in the forward pack because people are going to be more tired in the forwards than they typically would be in the backs. But it's a very risky strategy because realistically, if you have backs as your replacements, what you need to do is they're going to have to be 2 specialists. You're going to have a scrum half, because the scrum half typically, you've got to be very lucky if you've got someone who can play scrum half as well as many other positions at this level. And the same with fly half. Fly half, maybe they're interchangeable between fullback, maybe inside center, but that's at a push, and that isn't everybody. So I think it's risky when you make a decision to bring 6 forwards, because you basically, I think you're only making that decision if you think from your analytics and your data that the players that you're playing in the backs, one, they work together very well, and their style of rugby is going to work against the majority of people. And 2, if you look at the analytics and their injury rate in terms of are these players that get injured a lot, is very low. Because we see in a situation here, we're 5 minutes into the game, the 13 has just gone in for a try. He's injured his shoulder, and then Gordon's going to have to replace him, who is a natural fly half, because you can only have 2 specialties in there. So I understand the tactic of having more forwards than backs, but if I'm honest, I'd always tend to have the more equal split, where you would probably have like someone who can play center / winger / something, and have that extra replacement. But I mean, obviously, it's dependent on the squad that you have as well. If you have someone that, I mean, Austin Healey, I think that's probably one of the great reasons of why he was always the super utility back, is that he covers so many different positions from being off the bench, and that's usually where he came from. So, not that he couldn't start; he was a good enough player to start, but having him on the bench means that if someone gets injured, you can plug and play him wherever you want. Anyway, let's keep watching. Okay, so Argentina have come back down here. It's a shame. I would love to be able to watch full games, highlights on replay, and go through them with you guys. Because I'd love to see how Argentina got into this position. But, you know, simple try. Managed to get down in the opposition half. I have no idea how they did that, but good try. Oh, that's a great offload. Yeah, there's space out there. Good step inside. Good use of stepping back inside when people are tracking back. Great. Okay, so key here. I don't know what's going to happen here whatsoever, but let's look at the guards here, right? Okay, well, I was about to say you got Greg Cooper on the guard here, but then you got Will Skelton here that kind of like takes out any advantage that you've got of Greg Cooper on the guard here. But on the guards here, you've just had the tight head prop here just commit himself going into a ruck. So on your guards, what you've got a fly half and you've got a winger. So if I'm well, you've got no... Yeah, so if I'm Argentina, I'm trying to probably bring one of these forwards. I'd say I'd have a call of like crash, 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 crash. And that would be the call for 1, 5, and 3 here to suck in behind the ruck, take the ball, next person take the ball, and go blind side. Because you've also got... I mean, I think this guy's a forward here, but you've got Nick White here, and you've got the winger here as well. So that's what I would do. Let's see what happens.
They won't.
Oh, well, it's just a penalty.
Someone's going to the bin.
What happened there? How did Will Skelton open from the ground? It all happened way too quickly.
Slowing the ball down illegally.
We're slowing the ball down.
Huge penalty. Right on half time.
That's a big safety valve to win a scrum at the end of the first half when you're under that much pressure. So we're 10-10, half time. Being it's a very even game. Man, I wish I watched this game. Great effort. Let's see if we have a similar situation here. Who are the guards here? Tight head prop. He is nowhere near close enough to that that ruck there, especially at this area of the pitch. You've got your number 8 here, who's in the right position. He's close up to the ruck, and he's got himself on the inside of the post, so he can have momentum and leverage to get underneath the attacker if he does. This tight head prop is playing lazy. He is so far away from that ruck. He should be knitted up to the side of that ruck, one hand down to be lower than the opposition. And this guy, I mean, I think this guy's even got his hands on his hips to basically tell him like shift over and get further inside, or that guy's a back and he's telling him to get out. I mean, let's just oh no, he's just trying to get round him. Tom Wright's coming around here, but look at the gap when we're this close to the try line. Look at the gap, not only between the two defenders, but even between the ruck here. That is a plenty of space for Montoya to go through, and he utilised it. Let's have a watch of that again. So he comes round. He goes in between the space of the two defenders. Not what I would have done. I think you could have actually faked out the tight head prop there and gone on the inside. But he goes in between the great chasm of space between the 2 and 6, and that manages to give him momentum to go forward and get over. So... great try there, but poor defense, and that's coachable stuff. So you can make all these arguments about Australia not having the players, but look at that gap. By the time the 6 has touched him, he's already put the ball on the floor. So not great. Wiggly scrum. That was. So I think that happens kind of from luck, because let's have a look at the scrum here. So it's coming off a move. He's seen Grey Cooper on the left. Something's set up. The Argentina scrum half, being a what's the PG way of saying this? Being a turd, being a classic scrum half turd, is he goes to stick up his leg to try and block the pass. Nick White recognised that, and then the move is already ruined because Greg Cooper's already on his back foot, so it will be a hospital pass if he passed it to him. So he decides, well, whatever's happens, I'm just going to go on the other side, and that's just going to be what it is. And because of that, I think it's the fly half of the centre for Argentina, who started over here, has decided, because Nick White came over to the left to defend this side, and he's committed, and then he's opened up this space here. The open side flanker for Argentina, he doesn't think the ball's coming out this way because the scrum's already pretty much collapsed. He's seen the ball come out. He thinks the scrum's over. He's not really paying attention, and Nick White finds the space. That was, I think, it was really quick, intelligent, and it shows the skill of Nick White. But I think he is kind of fortunate a little bit in terms of just how that turned out. But he made the right decision rather than just putting the responsibility onto somebody else and just passing the ball out. So well done to him.
Advantage Argentina can try to capitalize.
Oh, great line. I know that guy. He plays for Newcastle, and he's like their one good player. He's got such a small center of gravity, and he's so nimble that when he picks a good line, very difficult to tackle. So that's a wonderful try. Let's have a look here what we got from here. So look at this. This is what you usually see if you pause these things. Who's the guy he's going up against? We've got a loose head prop in the middle of the pitch who can't really move that well. We've got this guy over here who's almost pointing like, yep, you've got the inside, haven't you, mate? And it's like, no, we've got a winger against a prop. And there we go. Is that a prop? Or is that a 7? Because if that's the 7, that's really embarrassing. Oh, is that 7? Oh no, it's 2. It's Hooker. We'll let him off. He's a front rower, and the 11 sees it. He runs the right angle, and he can't be tackled. Great overlap. Great support by Quade Cooper, and this is a great offload because I saw this try, and there you go. Great try. And that was immediately after the Argentina try, so that's really good answering. And that's what I meant when I said that both of these teams really wanted it. I think that no one really kind of like went down with a whimper. They went down fighting. So I think there's positives to take from both teams in that regard. So, yeah.
That's the advantage of strong ball carry, dominant carry on a weak
Great support by Quade Cooper to realise where to be at the right time.
Every goal jersey keeps
and a great offload as well off the floor.
That's the Wallaby team that we know.
What an intercept. Wow. Wow. And Argentina won this game somehow. That should have been it. You should now, at this point, just be able to play rugby to keep the opposition out. And that was whoa, what a risky play. Look at this. Oh my God. Okay, let's just have a look at this. Okay. Look at this. We have an overlap. We have two guys. Well, that's the scrum half. We have a guy here, and I think off the side of the screen that we can't see, we got a winger. So we have an overlap. This should be a try. 9 times out of 10. And the scrum half passes it directly to the center, which is a long pass, and the winger decides, you know, I'm going. We know that I know the overlap's on. If I just go down, and I just kind of try and take the tackle, we're going to get scored against. Instead, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to go for this ball. Wow. Wow, there's the player that I was talking about, and he goes the whole distance. That takes a lot of balls, and that's really intelligent play. Incredible. You'd love to see it, man, honestly. Right, let's see how Australia messed this up, because if I had to take a guess of what happened for Australia to lose this game, from what we've seen in terms of defensive organisation, it's going to be something defensive. So let's have a look here. Well, this is annoying because all we're seeing here is just how they got here. So I don't know if there's going to be a lot we can learn from here. But this is a good example of what I was talking about, of how they should have defended the try they had before. Look who we've got on the goal line here. We've got 2 forwards. They're down on their knees. They're getting underneath. We've got 3 forwards this side. They're down on their knees as well. This is what you should have. I'm not saying you should be excessive and you should have 3 players like this. They're probably like this because you can see that Argentina have committed that many men into this area of the pitch. But before, we should at least see 2 players on each side of the ruck, and we didn't have that. So let's have a look at what happens. I think it's just going to be a simple going over. There we go. But now now we've got space over here because we've got a winger and a guy. We've got number 4 here who's looking tired. He's not in the right position. I reckon they'll probably go blind side and they'll see the space there. No, they're going to go open side. They got 3 defenders there. Okay, so let's have a look here. Yeah, okay. Number 8 is not in the right position. This guy here is getting up, so he's probably not fully paying attention. He's just trying to get back on his feet. You got to give him credit as well. They're absolutely knackered by this point. We're 79 minutes into the game and they're doing desperate defense. But you have to say, not in the right body position here. He's standing up. He's not got his hand down. He has now. This should not go over, but oh, wow, that was clever. He decided because he knew everyone was going to go super low, he'd go over the top and put the try down, and he scores. Wow.
Have they held them up?
No, they haven't. Try. What a win for the Pumas, eh?
Gonzalez reacts
No more
to
Puma
getting
pants from
over
these guys.
That hole that's left in behind the breakdown.
Wow. Really intelligent to go over the top. And I know that I was harping on about right body positions, but you know, that doesn't work 9 times out of 10. You got to know that everyone's going low for that to work. So really intelligent play to get that over the ball. Would have loved to have seen how they got in that position, but hey ho. Maybe one day I'll get the rights to actually stream a full game or something and go through the game with you guys. So that's it. So, I mean, one of my major takings from that is that I think Argentina played really, really well, very competitive, and they deserve the win. And if I'm Australia, you know, I'm working on defensive drills, I'm working on getting people in the right position at the right time, and I think that's what you got to work on, major defensive organisation, because at the moment, from what I've seen, it did not look good enough. So we'll see how both of these teams react next week. I think it's Argentina versus Springboks. Oh God. The Argentinians are going to be in for a shock next week. The Springboks do not like losing, and they're going to come in hungry to win. So I think Argentina are going to get absolutely splattered. Wallabies versus All Blacks. Well, actually, we've got 2 weeks. So we've got 2 weeks, and I think if the Wallabies really work on some defensive strategy, working on getting better in that and recognize that in their coaching, then it could be a competitive game against the All Blacks. I'm saying that now, and I think I said that right at the beginning. I think a Wallabies All Blacks could be a competitive game if they get their defense better. They need their defense to be better, drill it into them. And if, to be honest with you, it's Eddie Jones, so I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. He's quite a hard-nosed guy. Get your rugby right, get the basics right, defensively right. So we'll see. Anyway, see you guys next time.